Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Day 5 of the RotoWire Euro DFS show. My name is Jack Burkart. You can find me on Twitter at Jack Burkart. I am joined, as usual, by Ryan Belongia. And Ryan, just another wild day in the Euro streets. I don't think anything quite ever goes as expected. Great first match of the tournament when we had Turkey against Georgia. Georgia really played with a lot of heart. Turkey showed off some of its young, talented attackers. What a goal by young Arda Güler. That was absolutely sick. And then we had Portugal just play awful, take some weird back three system that they hadn't played before in qualifying, as far as I understand. And, I think Czechia really kind of defended bravely, and two defensive gaffes. That's what keeps them from getting any points in this one. Really frustrating for DFS. Rafael Leao just dives for a yellow card when he has his man beat for pace. Just that's his instinct is pathetic, Ryan. I'm kind of tilting about that. I don't know. How do you feel about how everything went, maybe both live and from a DFS point of view? I think you might have
I know. I'm tilting too. I don't want to just complain too much. Just come on here. It sounded like sour grapes losing again. But yeah, the first Turkey game was great. Just from a soccer perspective, it might have been the best game of the tournament. That was fun to watch. DFS. I played Güler on every single lineup, and I lost like 90% of my buy-in today. So that doesn't really feel right when he was, the highest scorer on the slate, like in the 30% or something. See Ozzy in the chat. Euros have been tough so far. What pattern have you noticed? I've noticed like the worst play is getting there for 3 days in a row, and the best play is not getting there. It could go like on and on. Start with Provode. He was fine for cash, but he scored zero points. Get the 12 with the goal, but like I don't want to waste a lineup spot on 0 points if it's not defender. Think if you were to run this slate again tomorrow. Are you going to play Provode? Are you going to play – people are going to play Sufal? Like, how about that $4,100 random defender who took a set piece in one qualifier that people jammed a couple slates ago that scored that deflection goal, at like 20-some%. So, people are just clicking these guys because, for the set piece floor, and then they're getting there with goals and fluke goals too. So, if you want me to complain a little bit, then I play Kenan Yildiz. Looked like one of the best players on the pitch. He was basically the lowest owned forward on the slate. Scored a beautiful goal. It's offside by like a centimeter, so it ends up being the worst play on the slate. But yeah, anyways, you're not going to play Czech Republic guys. If you're going to play an underdog on this slate, you play Georgia guys for sure. Some of them got there too, but clearly there was floors in that game. I just thought the worst strategy was spending up for 2 Portugal forwards and then trying to, find value. And even the Portugal got the nut run out. They were, this is one of those classic Portugal games. It happened in the last tournament, maybe even the one before that, where they just can't score and they get these situations where they're going to in the nut spot for floor. And they got that again and still didn't even really do that great, but could keep going too. Nuno Mendes as a center back outscores the other ones. Cheaper, going to be popular. Hence, I'll say bad play, one of the worst plays, but outscores Cancelo and Delo. Doesn't even matter. Don't even worry about checking formations and just click the guys and you're getting there. I don't know. So
it's the bell curve meme, Ryan. We're in the middle right here, grinding Portuguese Twitter, saying it's like genius or gesture for Roberto Martinez for putting Nuno Mendes as a left-sided center back, and everyone's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just play him anyways. What does it matter? Nothing matters. You're just gonna hit dingers. Ryan, I have our cash teams. I think we took a very similar approach. I just spent up for Leao, and you spent up for Goalkeeper. As far as Ozzy saying patterns I've noticed, I'm simply just not going to pay these spend up goalkeepers in spots where teams are going to have 70% possession because I would rather spend down, I think, in cash games. So I felt kind of okay about that. I might have aggrieved you. What do you think, Ryan?
No, I should learn by now. I've played the goalkeeper with the best winning clean sheet odds on every slate so far, and it's gone terribly. I think it ended up as the lowest scoring keeper on the slate yet again. Every time I'm going into it the win and the clean sheet, I got the defenders too. It's going to carry me. It'll save a bunch of my lineups. It'll carry me in cash for sure. And something happens. These mistakes, these things, they're they matter so much more when it's just 2 games. Like, if you fade, I've been fading this donkey chalk that gets there, and if any of it gets there, I'm just dead. But if it goes the other way and they bust like they will most of the time, you just have such a clean path with leverage to high finishes. But we've seen these guys that people are just blindly clicking just get there without merit, I would say, a lot of the times. Again, like, I don't want, it sounds bad, just like me complaining. You're listening to a guy that's lost 3 days in a row now. Thankfully, I'm still up for the tournament, but taking some tough losses the last 3 days, so we'll try to rebound.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of this show is we want to react to what happened, and would we change our approach? I mean, some of these things are just absolutely ridiculous. Like, if I knew that this was how the game was going to go, I'm Xing Provote out of all my lineups, and I'm doing anything else entirely. If anything, one thing I can learn from is, there are a few very much dominant teams in UEFA who like really control a game. And you even said this on the show. It was worth playing more Georgia players. So I got it wrong in the show. I said Fear the Turtle won the main GPP yesterday. And so he corrected me via DM and decided to win it today. Notice a couple Georgia players in his lineup. And I was talking to Shu Premika, like, oh, how do people play for this $6,200 Georgia forward? Look at how all the forwards did, Ryan. Like, you just need that one goal and it's fine. And the Georgia forward was kind of cheap. So maybe getting a bit more funky with my forward selection, not just jamming chalk because they project, 3 points. I'm like,
your audio, Jack, your audio is kind of. No, it's still not good.
Let me change it. You riff.
Yeah. I was kind of in the same boat as Shu. I was surprised to see the ownership on some of those Georgia guys. I mean, I do get it because, like we just said, you'd rather play Georgia than Czech Republic. As far as forward goes, I thought that price was a little too close to the Turkish guys. Well, I thought they ended up being really good plays. They were only about 20%. Maybe Yildiz might have been even less than that in some of the contests I saw. So, he's not even $1,000 more than that Georgia guy, and same or less ownership. So I was kind of feeling what Shu was feeling, but also I agree with you. Like it, and what I said at the start, like you don't want to jam 2 Portugal forwards just with the way pricing was. That just wasn't the way to play the slate. So I think playing 1 Georgia forward makes a ton of sense because you're never going to play a Czech Republic forward. So yeah, it's like Turkey and Georgia forwards. There's just no other options.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Ryan, how's my audio now? I switched.
It's good now.
All right. Well, my apologies to the audience for cutting out. Yeah, I think that's a lot of great takeaways. And I'm going to just assume you got everything off your chest, Ryan, but I'll take last call.
Yeah, no, I'm done complaining.
All right. Well, let's look forward to this next slate. We get to take round 2 at all these teams and maybe take some of our actionable takeaways. I'm personally looking forward to it. First match on the docket, we got Croatia against Albania. Croatia are about 65% money line favorites, have a pretty healthy implied goal total of 1.8, Ryan. Albania, they're kind of there's going to be a talent disadvantage here. And they're not a team that possesses the ball a lot. So you're going to like Croatia. I'm going to like Croatia in this spot, I think. So it seems like a good spot to attack first. The headline game, the hosts Germany are facing Hungary. Germany have the highest implied win odds of the entire tournaments. They get a genuine home field advantage type of bump. And we have a 2.3 implied goal total. Ryan, the problem with Germany is that all of their players are midfield eligible only unless we see Niklas Füllkrug. So it's going to be a very difficult situation to manage, and they're all kind of expensive. So I'm going to be curious to hear your thoughts there. And then our final game is between Scotland and Switzerland. Ooh, I had a brain fart there. Scotland, they got absolutely destroyed in the first match. They're going to need some results. Switzerland, they booked their first win against Hungary. There's some interesting players, and I don't know, is like a Xherdan Shaqiri going to start? I haven't really looked through lineups too carefully, so that's going to be a bit of a difficult situation. Scotland, a tough team to nail their set pieces. It could be anyone, and it's just going to be something that you have to adjust for if you want. Ryan, when you opened it up, what are your thoughts on the slate?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tricky. The first thought was, like you said, Germany with the highest total, but all their players are midfield eligible. Yeah, they won't have one forward, if they roll out the same lineup, which they're expected to. And then Croatia's in a good spot, who also have a couple midfielders you might want to play. So there's going to be some tough decisions there. Germany, yeah, highest implied total by quite a bit. In that first game, they benefited a lot from the red card, right? And I'm trying to remember, but Middlestat was sort of busting at halftime and then smashed after the red. Even Cruz too. Like, I don't know. I'm not like jumping to play any of these guys because I think they have massive floors. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, just after what we've seen so far, I think the Croatia, like Lovromayer, and he's as good as he's got as high a floor as the Germany guys, similar spot. I found myself liking some of the Croatia guys. I thought forward was tough. You don't have any Germany forwards. You might want to play a Croatia guy. Scotland, yeah, I don't know. Just deciding which underdog to pick too, I think is pretty tough. I didn't really want to play any hungry guys. I don't know. I'm jumping all around here. Why don't we just
let's start diving in?
Yeah,
I think I don't know. Germany are big favorites in the recent friendlies. Ryan, I mean, Germany's kind of dominated the ball in just about everything, and they've played against good teams. So as far as which underdog do I want to play, I don't want to pay $9K for Dominic Soboslai or anything like that. So it seems like, going to fade Hungary. Maybe I can play their goalkeeper. But I'm also not sprinting to the podium to play a lot of these midfield eligible Germany pieces. It's going to be a situation where they all look good, but you don't know who's actually going to score the points on the first day. So it's great for GPPs, right? But that's not something that is really a nice cash.
I guess a better way of saying it, or what I was thinking was, it's a good spot for Germany. I see in the chat here, second biggest mismatch in terms of odds of the tournament so far, what Ozzy says. But like, which Germany guy are you feeling like, oh, I got to play him? Like, or I got to play both these guys. Yeah, at cost, right? Like, oh, I need to play. I can't. I'm excited to play this guy. He's going to smash. Like, you don't really feel that way. Could kind of come from anywhere from Germany. Might be one of those things where you try to like build your lineups or decide based on a game script. There's game scripts where Cruz can do really well. Like if Germany haven't scored yet, or do you want to play for goals and then Cruz busts, sort of thing. But yeah, just like on the surface, I don't see a Germany guy where I'm like, oh, I have to play him.
Nope, I don't think so either. We'll talk about midfield later. Ryan, first thing I want to do, though, is navigate this somewhat of a dumpster fire forward position, because it is pretty gnarly. So this is just going to be based on our starting 11s. There's no German forward eligible players except for Füllkrug if he starts, which I guess he has to have some interest. I don't mind playing a center forward, but I'm not planning on Füllkrug starting. So something that I'll be checking on the news. Don't really want to play hungry guys. I think the only forward eligible player in Scotland is Shankland. You have a couple forwards in the late Swiss game. Dan and Doy played forward, but we don't know if their formation is going to change. And then Kwadwo Dua, hopefully I got that close. He scored a goal or at least assisted in Switzerland's first match. Maybe he gets the nod again. That would certainly make sense. Those guys are in the 6K range, not really cash plays, but there really are no cash plays on the slate. Some of the Albania forwards, they're at least cheap, but Broja costs 5,100. This Arbor Hoxa, I was looking at his Sofa score logs to see if I could find anything 4,500. I don't know, maybe Albania have some juice against Croatia. Ryan, I'm looking at being like, well, I'll just play Kramaric, and he's got really good goal odds. Surprisingly decent floor in qualifying. I know I'll make a Island Trader 68, aka Bear, happy by suggesting this. I don't want to I feel like Kramaric will at least have something of a floor, Ryan. I'm kind of leaning playing him in cash.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I was trying to get up to him too. I ended up only being able to make it to Budimir, but he doesn't have a floor or as much of one as Kramaric. But yeah, I wanted to get a Croatia guy. I don't know where else you're going to go. I was thinking about this Jasir Asani, but I've read that he's hurt and might actually be out. So we'll have to see on that. But yeah, I would be fine. It's not a great spot for Albania, but you mentioned we don't want to play any Hungary. And I think you're going to have to punt at second forward. I was thinking like Che Adams is 4,300, but yeah, it doesn't seem like he's going to start. And that being the last game, you can't really plan for that because you'd be dead if you have Che Adams and like no swaps available.
Yeah, you
So
might be
I don't mind
you might be playing a sub.
Yeah, you might be playing a sub. So I don't mind this guy you mentioned, this Arbor Hoxha, or somebody from Albania can tell us how to say his name, but yeah, for the price, why not? I don't know. The forward it's a weird slate where there's no Germany forwards, and Ndoye. Yeah, you mentioned Ndoye. That he's got to be one of the better cash forwards on this slate. I'm definitely considering him.
Yeah, Ndoye looks good in my initial run of projections, which are not quite done. I mean, we're going to be looking at these guys tonight, Ryan, maybe talking about it in Discord. So rotowire.com/chat. If you're not a member, you can do our 2-day trial, rotowire.com/soccer trial. If you're not a sub, please join us. A lot of quality discussion and a lot of fun being had there. And then, of course, if you're enjoying the video, please thumbs up, comment, all that fun stuff. Good reviews on the podcast feed help too. So yeah, as we kind of keep on pouring over these things and continuing to develop our opinions, yeah, I agree completely. Like going all the way down to Hoxha is fine. Ndoye feels good. Just got to make sure that I feel confident he starts. But yeah, I mean, Kramaric, he's someone who gives you a goal. You might be lapping the forward position. I mean, he's going to be chalk in tournaments. You have to imagine that, Ryan, especially with them playing early. Early guys have been getting a little bit more ownership on these staggered slates. 3 games only, pretty likely goal scorer, all things considered. How do you want to handle the Kramaric situation in GPPs? Do you see any viable alternatives?
Yeah, there's not that many alternatives, which is it makes me think I'm going to have to play some. I mean, I already like the spot for Croatia. And so like with the lack of alternatives, the Croatian forwards are better than otherwise, I feel like. So I think they're all good plays, and I will play them all. The two. There's only 2 of them. Kremeric and Budimir. I like both of them.
Yeah, I mean, makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, that's chalk I will eat, Jack. That's chalk I will eat.
Yeah, I don't want to get – maybe I'd, save some, like, if I want to plan for Dua to start, maybe that would be interesting. But, like, I'm not going to, have bullets for Barnabas Varga. Like, are you, no, that's just not something – that's not something I want to do. We have someone in the chat saying Shankland might start. So Ryan, do you have the price on Shankland?
Seems like Shankland is going to start. He's a fine tournament play. I think he's 6,200. So he's 2K more than Che Adams, which is unfortunate. But I would still rather play him than any Hungary player.
Yeah, I figure if he's the same. People haven't heard of him.
Yeah, he's the same price as Kwadwo Dua. So. Yeah, I don't know. Like, either of them seem fine. They both seem like similar plays.
Yeah. I guess that gives you a swap. I mean, it's not unreasonable to play Dua, and there's no one to play in cash, and at least he kind of showed like a 6-point floor against Hungary. So 70 minutes probably. I don't know. I wouldn't even roll. They're all up in the air because the position is so bad. That's my take.
70 minutes. I think you'd be happy if you got. I think I could see him going less than that even.
I forgot how much he played. It's on my sheet somewhere, but like I don't know.
Well, and they just have guys like Brillambolo would be starting if he wasn't just fit. Coming back. So he came back and scored last game. He's for sure coming on here. If they're not winning, then you could see a halftime sub.
Yeah. Well, I don't dispute that, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, forward, dumpster fire. Moving on to midfield, I've said earlier we have an expensive Dominic Soboslai. We're not gonna play him. I think that's just a kind of gigabrain contrarian play. I agree, Ryan. Lovro Meyer looks like an interesting play. He's an option that ought to split set pieces with Luka Modric. I said in the tagline for the show that we were going to discuss Luka Modric, Ryan. He only scored 1.7 floor points. I was surprised by that, even though I watched the game. I thought he was doing a little bit more than that. I still do think Modric should split corners with Lovro Meyer. Both of them pretty good plays if you're looking at it. I do prefer Meyer, though, with the more attacking role. Modric on pens. I think it was kind of just a fluke performance for Modric that can happen when you play a tough Spain team.
Yeah, I think you broke it down well. I like these Croatia guys, both of them. I like them more because you have to compete with all these Germany mids that people are going to want to play. So you should get a little bit of an ownership discount. Not much. They're still good plays, and they're in the first game, so people will click them. But I think they're both good plays. Meyer had 9 floor against Spain. That was nice to see, and I think he has more open play upside than Modric probably, but this is a much better spot, than that game against Spain. So it should be a good spot for Modric too. I want to play at least one of them. Like I can't imagine fading both Croatia mids and like jamming a bunch of Germany guys. It just doesn't seem like the right move. Of course Germany could score 4 or 5, but I'm just not trying to rely on that.
Yeah, and they could score 4 and 5, and you play Florian Wirtz and Gundogan, and it's Musiala and Havertz who score the goals. So if you're thinking about goals with a team that kind of has a wide funnel, I don't know. I think that's pretty fair. I think we are more confident that points are going to actually go through Croatia, even though the Germany forwards are going to obviously look good. Yeah, I mean, the German options, Wirtz, Gundogan, Musiala, Kai Havertz. I always like Musiala. Wirtz is good. It's kind of a coin flip with these guys, Ryan. You kind of just want to make sure that you have the player who's going to put in more minutes. Germany does have an embarrassment of riches on the bench. Definitely going to expect Leroy Sané to come off of the bench and terrorize this Hungary back line. Thomas Muller is capable of going on. I guess, Ryan, Sané plays on the right side, so is that more risk for Musiala? I don't really think so. I think he can kind of just move around wherever a little bit. I guess minutes are going to be right, especially from a tournament's point of view. So what do you think?
Yeah, I don't really think that's more risk for Musiala. I think you're right. They'll just move him to the other side. Saw last couple of times I've watched Germany, he's switched sides a couple of times. And I just think he might be their best player, generational talent, Musiala. So I agree with you that I always like clicking him when it's tough and you can't decide. Wirtz has been in great form. Don't mind clicking him either. Yeah, if I had to pick one, I feel best about Musiala. I just feel like he's most likely to, come up with a special goal.
And what about Toni Kroos as a cash option? We're talking around 8K, and he did take all of the corners, even when Pascal Gross subbed on.
Yeah,
Ryan, I have a tough time getting there.
But I mean, if you're going to play any German midfielder in cash, well, I guess I'll ask you. If I'm going to play any German midfielder in cash, it's still going to be Kroos. I can't click one of these other guys in cash.
In cash, yeah,
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right. Maybe you tell me. Tell me you're going to click somebody else.
All right, I'll tell you right now. Yeah. Right now, I think I would probably I would rather play Musiala over Kroos. Tell me why.
Maybe I would too. Yeah, Musiala would be the only one. Only 500 more is like Kroos is a bit expensive. You'd like Kroos to be like 7,500 here.
Yeah, you would. And Musiala takes shots. He's going to get fouled a lot. He was just incredible in that first match against Scotland. I know they kind of got to show off with 10 men, but he's a player who has a floor, Ryan, and he does shoot. I think I can get some chances created. I'm trying to prioritize shots a little bit more. Kroos was a total bust, even against Scotland very early on. And he's playing back a little bit more. He had like a 100% pass completion rating. Like, he's not like making risky passes. He's not making risky crosses in open play. It's purely a set piece play. And the game environment says that there's going to be shots and shots assisted. So Kroos is going to be the right play enough of the time where it's like, oh, of course he's the set piece monopolist, but he's extremely boring. Yeah, I guess I definitely don't think highly of Kroos in tournaments. In cash, even, I don't know if you want to show up with Musiala instead of Kroos. I kind of want to, so maybe that's why I'm saying I don't mind it, but I think there's some merit to it.
Yeah, no, I think there's merit too. That's something that I would traditionally do. And yeah, I'm not trying to play Kroos in tournaments either. Maybe there's one type of lineup where I play Kroos, and it's where like him either he's my only German guy or say him in Middlestat with the Hungary keeper. And then you just like jam all the best plays from the other games. And you hope it's a game like we've seen a couple so far, like this Portugal one today where the team's just chasing. But in general, yeah, you're not going to see a lot of Tony Cruz from me in GPPs, and probably not even in cash. But if somehow I landed on him as a last guy in and I couldn't get up to Musiala, I wouldn't mind it.
No, it wouldn't be that bad. It's just you better hope Germany gets a lot of corners. Like, and that's I don't have the answer to that type of question, but he's definitely going to depend on it. Yeah, I think that covers the expensive guys that we're looking at. If you're willing to pay down a little bit more, Ryan, I actually think this slate has quite a bit of value at midfielder. Aslani ended up taking corners, which was something of a surprise, but he's a very cheap and viable midfielder if you need to pay down a little bit. I think Billy Gilmore might be a little cheap. I would expect him to take some right-sided corners. Scott McTominay is an interesting midfield. If you're kind of looking down the bout a little bit, I feel good about the cheap midfielders. I kind of feel like there's 4 that I want to rotate through amongst those names I mentioned, kind of facilitate paying up for at least one 8K midfielder. I don't know. Who do you like on the lower end, Ryan?
Yeah, the guys you said. Do we know what was the set piece breakdown for Albania?
Well,
you said
on the cheat sheet, we have that. So now that that's up, so this is where the cheat sheet is your moneymaker. You don't have to have 20 tabs open.
Yeah. Oh, there. Okay. I wanted to say, I thought I saw all 3 guys take, but there. Okay. Yeah. Aslani, 3,800. That seems fine. And same price as Gilmore. Either one of them seem fine. Should have some set pieces. Not like the worst spots. Better spot than Hungary at least. Yeah, those are kind of the 2 I was looking at. 3, I guess. Bahrami's fine too. I feel like he probably has a little more upside than Aslani, at least to score or assist just based on where they play. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add. The 3 guys you mentioned, I mean, is there anyone else?
Not cheap, but a name I was going to mention, especially if Shaqiri doesn't start. I don't think I want to make plans for Ruben Vargas, Ryan, but at 6,400, it's an all right matchup against Scotland, I think. I don't know. I think he's a
should mention Ruben Vargas. It's always a tough decision. You need him to get you a goal contribution. Like he's going to end up fine. I just feel like he always has such a similar outcome. Like he's going to play 65 minutes and score you like 4 points or something. Like probably won't kill you if he gets an assist, and he can score too. So he has the ability to put up a big score. But I just feel like he is the classic 65 minutes, 8 points, something like that. Probably won't get there, but I don't mind it. Swiss team is better than Scotland, and they should create chances and have decent floors. I just hate that he gets subbed so early.
Yeah, I need to look more into the projected Swiss lineup, because if there's it's like, okay,
and that's the last game,
Yeah.
Is Shaqiri going to start? It's tough to, I don't know. Like it's tough to just if you haven't heard anybody say anything, like how can we just assume Shaqiri is going to start when they won last game and played well? I see them playing the same lineup, maybe if with a different forward, but I see Abishare being there again. So maybe he's in play at 4,400. I was going to mention, I think Croatia might switch it up. I've heard that it might finally be time for Brozovic to get put on the bench. And Adams got that reflected in the starting lineup as well. I don't mind one of those Croatia guys. I feel like there's a path to them getting assists. It'll be like Luka Susic. It could be Pasalic. I think it's fine.
Yeah, based on this lineup, I was looking at Susic. He's a player who takes corners for his club. He plays in Austria for RB Salzburg. Something of a more attacking intended central midfielder. Might even be bad if Susic is on and Modric is playing. Maybe he has to go back a little bit. But I agree. It'll be nice to see the corpse of Brozovic off there.
Yeah.
Again,
I think
just a lot
Susic,
of cheap options.
Whoever that is, like Susic or Like, yeah, if it's Susic, I think that's a good role. Like, you have Kovacic and Modric in there, so yeah, he'll have a role to, like a Fabian Ruiz role, sort of.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
That doesn't seem bad whatsoever. Yeah, I think that's probably it for midfield. Defender Ryan. There's some interesting, expensive options. You said early on that Middlestat, you think he got a little lucky to get there. Still, he's a player who has some big crossing performances, especially in friendlies at 5,800. So he's definitely playable. Borna Sosa is playable. I think in the mid 4K. I have to double check his price. Andy Robertson is always going to get attention. Ryan, Andy Robertson's floor has not been that great based on qualifiers. I mean, Scotland are just not as dominant a team as Liverpool. He's still on the radar. Ricardo Rodriguez, I'm obligated to point out he took a corner and is 4,800. It seems like there's some guys to pay up for. So how do you see the higher end defenders?
Yeah, there's guys to pay up for, but not in love with anyone. And I'm not sure that one's a lock. You might say Middlestat, but I said he got lucky, may be the wrong word, but I'm saying that because I captained him in that first slate and just jammed him, and I wasn't too happy about it at halftime. I was thinking like maybe a mistake, to be honest. But then they got the red card, and he got there a bunch of crosses. He looked okay. I still got to say I don't like David Raum being on the bench. I'm just waiting for that. We're just waiting for that 55th minute sub,
I will continue to make notes to the patrons of the projections I have that be careful. Like when David Raum ruins your day,
right? So he's fine, but there's a lot of risk there. He has that Tony Cruz risk too, where like they're just not doing a lot, and if the other guys are scoring, then you're in trouble. So I think Robertson's similar to him. Even though, like you mentioned, it's not the Robertson from Liverpool, and Scotland aren't that great, and still, like, it's a much better spot than it was against Germany, and Scotland needs something from this game. So I don't mind Robertson. I think he's a comparable play to Middlestat. Borna Sosa, he's been good at DFS before. He's taken corners at a lot of places he's been. He's taken corners for Croatia in the past. Would he steal them from Meyer here? Might have to look into that because I think those are their two left-footed guys. Definitely have to look into that actually, because if Sosa had priority over Meyer, that would not be good. So he might be in play. Who else is there? Yeah, I thought Gvardiol. It's nice that that's the first game, because if I saw Gvardiol at left back, I would just want to play him. I feel like that's what they should do. He could just destroy Albania from that left back position. He almost scored against Spain. He was actually pretty good from Spain in that spot. So it'd be kind of annoying to see Sosa there, but it seems like we're going to, Croatia should roll out a more attacking lineup now that they play in Albania instead of Spain. So that would kind of rule out Gvardiol now that they priced him up. Who else is there? Yeah, that's about it. I can't click Rick Rod, but I get it. If it's the same lineup as last game, he might take a corner or two, but even still can't click him. I mean, what did he score last game? He took a corner or two and 5 points or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sprinting to the podium to play him.
He's never really going to do anything from open play. Maybe throwing a few crosses, like you said. We saw Nuno Mendes do it. We see those left-sided center backs. We see Bastoni do it. Other guys like that. So you get those crosses sometimes, but still, like he's not cheap or anything.
Yeah.
Don't want to play any hungry guys. Mitaj, I don't know. Do you have any interest in the Albania guys?
If you're not paying above 5K, Ryan, I feel like you're probably just scroll, and then might be punting at defenders. Yeah, the Albanian fullbacks seem totally reasonable. If you need it, like Jack Hendry, he's 2,500. There's just cheap options that might be the couple extra $100 that you need. Yeah, I think that about covers it. Any final takes on defender, Ryan?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
I think I'll probably play at least one expensive one. Robertson.
That's what I was planning.
Maybe 2. We'll see how it goes. Might be a good Belongia, play Middlestat Robertson or Middlestat Sosa, and then you might be able to, lap all these other center backs. Of course,
Not
you
a
can
bad
queue
call.
up, like Frank says, Cruz, Tata, or Rudiger. Well, at least those guys are like 4,200, so you have to pay for that goal. But yeah, maybe it is about time we had a center back goal break this slate.
Yeah. Need them to be good plays, those defenders. I'd like to do the double spend up. Are they both good plays? Maybe 2 of the 3 do get there. I kind of like that strategy, Jack. I think people will find that hard to do if you're going to try to play multiple Germany mids and Croatia forwards, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to forward. Spend up goalkeeper has been a little bit tilting. My impression is it's the same thing as always. I hope I have enough money for Manuel Neuer just because the winning clean sheet odds are really strong. But Germany are a team that should take a lot of shots. Hungary struggled a little bit against Switzerland. So if I have to pay down for Gulashi, I think that would be fine personally. I think that is a spot where I feel like I can get saves from an underdog. Goalkeeper, I don't know, Ryan. It's goalkeeper. What do you think?
Well, we said at the start, paying up for keeper has cost me tons this tournament. I know it's a relatively small sample, but I'm not trying to pay up for keeper here. Yeah, I mean, it's nice if you can, but I kind of like gun on this slate, Jack. Just seems like Scotland could win 1-0. Somebody wrote it in the chat earlier. That's the first thing I thought. Scotland could actually win this game. But the other guys have more save upside. So yeah, I don't mind that either. We saw the Czech Republic goalkeeper was a decent play today. Or sorry, Czechia. We got to remember that. The Czechia keeper was a good play today. So yeah, I think that's fine. But I kind of like gun. I think Scotland could pull this off.
That's a great point. There's only 500 to go from, Gulashi to gun. You kind of feel like you get meaningful win outs with that sort of thing. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, I really don't think there's going to be a 2,300 difference between Neuer and Gulashi. Like, I think if Neuer gets the winning clean sheet, he scores 12. I don't know. I kind of shrug my shoulders and say, so what? I think I might be able to get 4 points from Gulashi, and then 2,300 might go a long way. That's the difference between Ruben Vargas and a Germany midfielder if you need to sort of power up your lineup a little bit. So leaning towards spend down, but we'll see how that goes. All right. Well, thank you to everyone in the chat who's been hanging out with us. It's been absolutely popping. Ryan, any final thoughts before we convene for the day?
Yeah, no final thoughts, man. We just need to break the streak and turn it around tomorrow. Get a W.
I'm begging the forwards that I play to just score. Like, please, just do it once. Like,
yeah, sorry. I'm sorry.
It's humiliating.
It's been a it's like the culmination of frustrating few days for me. I'm a little under the weather too. My son's under the weather, so it's like all coming together for me to rant about DFS. And sorry.
I don't know. I think Mo said it earlier in the chat. I think we needed to rant a little bit. It's been an extremely chaotic start to this tournament.
To a minimum.
Yeah.
But if we lose a couple more days, the rants will keep coming.
The rants will keep coming. Well, Ryan, I hope you win, but at least the people get some some spoils otherwise. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. Hit the like button, please, on the way out. Leave a comment. Join everything you should be. And yeah, we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jack. Good luck, everybody.